To know my grandmother is to know a Black woman that was born ahead of her time. She was a natural born leader. She served her community as a Christian missionary, a entrepreneurial trailblazer, and a visible advocate for social justice. My name is Jeanette Jefferson Barnett, and I am honored to be the granddaughter of the late Betty Jefferson. I am also honored to introduce to you today the Betty Jefferson Memorial Fund of the Cleveland Foundation.
Betty moved north to Cleveland from Louisville, Kentucky in the 1950s as a part of the Great Migration. At that time, Cleveland was still largely segregated, and by 1960, nearly all of Cleveland's Black population were pushed into neighborhoods of deteriorating houses and poorer quality schools. In 1963, buses left Cleveland for D.C. for the March on Washington with Martin Luther King Jr. at the microphone.
My grandmother was on one of those buses, and she was on them all.
In 1964, the United Freedom Movement marched in Cleveland when nearly all of the city's Black children boycotted school.
My grandmother was walking in that march.
By 1979, and by a federal court order from the Reed versus Rhodes lawsuit, Cleveland began transporting Black students to desegregate the schools. Bus rides for some students exceeded 80 minutes each way, as East and West students were assigned to crosstown destinations to balance the school populations. A grassroots organization, Parent Power, was formed to help organize the voices of Cleveland City School District parents to demand action and change of the schools.
And she was its founder.
In 1983, the first ever Black Women's Political Action Committee was formed.
And that next year, my grandmother was a candidate for the Cleveland Public School Board.
It's 30 years later, and Cleveland has slipped back into the throes of neighborhoods of deteriorating houses and poorer quality schools. Today, one of every two of Cleveland's youth lives in poverty, making it the second worst city for child poverty in the United States.
So on behalf of the entire Jefferson family, I am personally inviting you to contribute to this new and very important fund that will support Cleveland's Black youth. The Betty Jefferson Memorial Fund of the Cleveland Foundation needs your support. Thank you in advance for all of your donations and contributions. My grandmother is smiling down from heaven right now and saying to each and every one of you,
thank you so much, sweet doll baby.